Now, the greatest radio shows of all time.
Suspense.
The Shadow Node.
Washington calling David Harding, counter-spy.
Classic radio theater.
The Great Gildersleeve.
Fibber McGee and Molly.
Dragnet. Gunsmoke.
The Lone Ranger.
Now, step back into our time machine with your host, Wyatt Cox.
Good evening, friends of the Inner Sanctum.
Hey, Abbott! An episode of the Abbott and Costello show, their ABC run. This one comes to you from February 10th, 1949. Not only will there be lots of yucks from the boys, but also another Sam Shovel episode, the case of the nephew who gambled away his mother's sister's salary, or he lost his auntie's pay. Yeah.
Hey, Abbott, what time is it? It's time for the Abbott and Costello show. We're on the air for ABC here in Hollywood. Well, what are we waiting for? Let's go with the Abbott and Costello show.
Yes, it's the Abbott and Costello Show, produced and transcribed in Hollywood for your listening and laughing pleasure, with chuckles by the carload and music by Matty Malnick. So hold on to your chairs, folks, for here they are, Bud-Abbott and Lou-Costello.
Hey, Abbott! All right. Stop that noise. I saw you rushing down to the studio tonight. Why were you pushing your bicycle?
Oh, Abbott, I was so late I didn't have time to get on. But I got other worries besides that. My Uncle Tom is in bad shape, and it's all on account of the election last November.
What do you mean?
16 years ago, he said he'd let his beard grow until the Republicans elected a president. Now he's got to move out of Glendale.
Why?
His beard is slapping over into Cucamonga.
That's what I like about your relatives. There's something always going on.
Oh, yes. My Aunt Alma is suing the Patterson newspaper for slander. When she got married for the 5th time, they put the wrong headline under her picture.
What did it say?
Old power plant resumes operations. And Alma ain't gonna like it.
You won't, eh? So she got married again, eh, Lou?
Yeah.
Well, that's what you ought to do. Get married.
I proposed to a girl today, Evan. I walked up to this beautiful girl and I said, "Will you marry me, Jake?"
Huh? The girl's name was Jake.
When I'm looking for a wife, any girl that will marry me is Jake with me.
I can see why you never get a girl. You don't know the first thing about girls.
That's so. When I was a sailor in the Navy years ago, I had a hula dancer tattooed on my chest, and I could make her dance just by flexing my muscles.
Can you still make her dance?
No, all she does now is sit on my stomach.
That I believe. I don't think you were ever in the Navy.
Oh, I don't know. I was. I came back from Europe on the Normandy.
The Normandy? The Normandy has been sunk for years.
It has? No wonder the bread was soggy.
Get him out of here. Get him out.
Hey, A, B, C, D, F, A.
All right. What's the matter with you? You look so unhappy.
Strange thing happened to me last night.
What do you mean?
I woke up at 6 o'clock this morning, and there was a horse in my bed, and the light in my room was lit.
That is strange.
Yes, I always turn that light off before I go to bed.
Well, never mind that. Why were you arguing with that traffic cop outside the studio?
He gave me a ticket and took away my driver's license.
What for?
Driving my car 15 miles an hour.
He can't give you a ticket and take away your driver's license for that. You're allowed to drive 15 miles an hour.
Through the lobby of the Roosevelt Hotel?
What were you doing in the lobby of the Roosevelt Hotel?
I live there, in the lobby of the Roosevelt Hotel. But I don't like the room they gave me, so now I'm thinking of moving over to the YWCA.
YWCA? There's nothing but girls at the YWCA.
Anything will be better than the room I got.
Costello, they have very nice rooms at the Roosevelt Hotel.
Yes, but they gave me one of those rooms with an adjoining.
An adjoining what?
I don't know. I've never been able to get the other door open.
Never mind that. Wait a minute. What have you got in that big package under your arm?
A waffle iron I got for Christmas, and it's no good. I'm taking it back.
What's the matter with it?
Well, I ironed a waffle with it this morning for 3 hours. It still had wrinkles in it.
There's what?
I said I ironed a waffle with it this morning. And for 3 hours, it still had wrinkles in it.
You dummy.
Wrinkles were still in the waffles.
Right, I heard.
What's iron? What's the matter with you? Ever try to iron a waffle?
Well, wait a minute. Waffles.
What are you making a big thing out of ironing a waffle?
Wait a minute. Don't shout at me.
I ironed a waffle this morning and couldn't get the wrinkles.
All right. But there's supposed to be wrinkles in them. That waffle iron is all right. You just don't understand anything about machinery, that's all.
How can you say that? I've invented plenty of machines. Right now, I'm working on a machine to make a new type of shower curtain.
What kind of a shower curtain?
I call it the hostess shower curtain.
How does it work?
Well, if the hostess is entertaining and she wants to take a shower, she just pushes a button. The shower curtain becomes transparent, and she can see how the guests are getting along in the living room. Don't laugh. Don't laugh. Don't laugh now. There's only one thing wrong with it.
What's that?
The guests can also see how you are getting along in the shower.
You and your silly inventions. They never work.
Yeah, well, I got a new one now that works. It's a mouse trap that kills a mouse every time.
Well, how does it work?
Well, for bait, I use a pretty little girl mouse in tights. A male mouse sees her, makes a date with her, and takes her out to Ciro's.
How does a mouse get killed?
Crossing Hollywood Boulevard. It kills him every time.
Costello, you'll never make a nickel with your silly inventions. You've got to remember that success stems from hard work. Take Betty Grable. Her success stems from hard work.
Right.
Take Esther Williams. Her success stems from hard work. Take Greer Garson. Her success stems from hard work.
Where am I going to get some of those stems?
Costello, how can you be so stupid? Are all your family idiots?
I guess they're all idiots, except my brother Pat. He's a Republican.
Your brother Pat. There's a fine specimen.
Yes?
I saw him on the beach at Santa Monica Sunday.
His wife wasn't feeling good, so he took her down to the ocean. Sat there holding his wife's head in his hands for 2 hours, and a cop arrested him for it.
Why? Lots of fellas hold their wives' heads in their hands.
Underwater?
Well, never mind that. Where did you go Sunday?
Where did I go Sunday?
Yeah.
I went to Cucamonga to see my new girlfriend, Messy Myrtle.
Messy Myrtle.
What a girl. Every time I go to see her, she gives me peanut butter.
Sandwiches?
No, just peanut butter. That's why they call her Messy Myrtle.
Messy Myrtle. What do you see in that girl anyway?
Well, she's a very brilliant girl, Abbott. She's studying chemistry in college. She invented a drug that will stop a man from smoking, make him quit biting his nails, make him quit drinking, and make him quit going out with girls and cure all his bad habits.
Well, that's marvelous. What is the drug called?
Poison.
She sounds like quite a girl, Lou.
Yes, she is. But I'm thinking of breaking off with her. Myrtle said something to me that got me so mad that I may never see her again.
What did she say?
She said she never wanted to see me again. But I don't have to worry about Myrtle. I got a new girl. She's beautiful. She's a hat check girl. But I'm kind of suspicious of this one.
What do you mean?
I think she's going out with another guy.
Oh, now, what makes you think that your hat check girl is going out with other guys?
Last night, when I left the house, she handed me the wrong hat.
Wait a minute. Was it a brown fedora with a little green feather in the band?
Yes.
Well, here's the check, Costello. Give me back my hat.
Okay, and I'll give you back that joke, too.
Why don't you stop chasing around? Find a beautiful woman like my wife and get married.
Your wife is beautiful?
Sure, she has shoulders. Her shoulders are 23. Her waist is 24. Her hips are 35. How does that stack up with the girls you go out with?
The girls I go out with are the same age all over.
No girl who had any sense would go out with you at all. You don't know how to treat a girl, Lou.
Maybe not, but I'll say one thing. When I kiss a girl, she knows she's been kissed.
How does she know?
I leave a note.
Costello, why don't you try to be like me? Now, I can get any girl I want.
I know that, Abbott. You got personality.
I wouldn't say that.
You're very charming.
Oh, I wouldn't say that.
And you're...
Handsome?
Yeah, you're handsome.
Oh, I wouldn't say that.
I wouldn't either, but you tricked me into it.
Just step right over here with me, will you, Harry?
Just a minute. What are you two guys doing in here?
It'll only take a minute. Now, would you open your mouth, Mr. Costello?
Yeah, okay.
Just a little wider, please.
All right.
There. See that, Harry? Way in the back. Right next to the gold tooth. Right there.
Uh-huh.
Yes. It's beautiful. All right, Mr. Costello, you can close your mouth now. Thanks a lot.
Wait a minute. Are you a dentist?
No, I'm working with the architect that's remodeling the White House. I was just showing my friend where Truman's new balcony is going to be.
You know, Abbott, I'm the guy they need in Washington. I've got a scheme to get all the nations in Washington together.
How can you do that?
With the stuff we're shipping abroad. Why, we'll ship all our potatoes to Germany, all our carrots to France, all our onions to Russia, and all our meat to Italy.
Well, wait a minute, Lou. How will that get the countries of Europe together?
If they want a beef stew, brother, they'll have to get together.
Well, hello, boys.
Well, look, Costello, it's our lovely secretary, Viola Vaughn. Viola, you look wonderful tonight.
Oh, and you look nice, too, Bud.
Thanks.
Say, Costello, you look very pretty tonight. I've never seen you so dressed up. Wait a minute. Isn't that smoke coming out of your coat?
Yes. I ran out of cologne, so I'm burning incense in my vest pocket.
Oh, my. You're really sharp tonight, Costello.
And I feel so romantic, too. Come over here and put your arms around me.
Oh, well, I'd like to, but I can't. Doctor's orders.
Oh, what has your doctor's orders got to do with you putting your arms around me?
He warned me not to take any long trips.
Viola, why don't you have a date with Costello and get it over with? You've been stalling him around for weeks.
Oh, I'd like to, Bud, but I can't. Tonight I'm going out with Gregory Peck.
Gregory Peck?
Uh-huh.
Oh, Viola, I've got everything Gregory Peck has got and more to boot.
I know. It's too bad I've got on open-toed shoes.
I don't get it.
You don't get it?
No, I don't get it.
You would if she didn't have on those open-toed shoes.
Now I get it. Viola, what do you see in that guy, Gregory Peck?
Oh, just thinking of him makes me feel good. Why, once when I had the hives, I thought of Gregory Peck, and that made me well.
Don't you ever think of me?
What do you think gave me the hives?
That Gregory Peck must be quite a man.
Oh, he is, Mr. Abbott. He takes you out, buys you a 7-course dinner, takes you to 3 or 4 nightclubs, and then gives you $20 for cab fare home.
Looks like I'll have to get a date tonight.
With Viola?
No, with Gregory Peck.
Costello.
Yes?
Costello, if you'll go out with me tonight, I'll give you cab fare home.
How dare you?
What's the matter, Costello?
Viola, do I look like the type of man that would accept money from a beautiful girl like you? Do you think that I, Lou Costello, would allow a gorgeous creature like yourself to pay my cab fare?
I do.
And you're so right.
And there's a lot more man stuff still to come. But right now, a change of pace. Let you hear this.
February 10th, 1949, Abbott and Costello on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. You're in tune with Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox here on your favorite station. Now more of Bud Abbott and Lou Costello from February 10th, 1949.
Costello, what have you got in that box you brought in here tonight?
My Sam Shovel detective disguises. I worked on a case last night and I wore a disguise.
You did?
Yes. You should have seen me. I had a big bandage on my head, one arm in a sling, bandage. I had Band-Aids plastered all over my eyes. My left leg is in a cast and I hobbled along on crutches.
Well, what were you disguised as?
A California pedestrian.
What is your Sam Shovel detective story for tonight?
It's a very interesting case, Abbott. I call it the case of the nephew who gambled away his mother's sister's salary or he lost his aunt's pay.
Well, let's get on with the case.
Yes, I'm Sam Shovel. Sam Shovel, private detective. I never forget a face. I'm walking down the street to my little office. Suddenly in the crowd, I notice a woman. She's got a familiar face. I follow her. I decide to question her. Madam, aren't you Sadie the shoplifter?
No,
Let's look at your profile. You're Connie the counterfeiter.
I am not.
That's funny. I never forget a face. I know. Are you Polly the pickpocket?
Stop this foolishness, Sam. I'm your mother. And don't forget to come home for dinner.
I knew I seen her someplace. There goes one of those new underslung 1949 Hudsons. That car's built so low the California drivers are having trouble with them. They gotta jack them up before they can run over a pedestrian. This detective business is no cinch. It took me 5 years to get a toe hole on this business. I still ain't making any money. After all, how much business can you toe hole? I spent a lot of money on equipment. I just bought a new silencer for my gun. I think I'll put it on the gun and try it out. Perfect. Best silencer I ever had. Suddenly my phone rings. Sam Shovel, private detective talking.
Hello, Sam. This is Hyman, the stool pigeon, talking. Say, Sam, how would you like to lay your hands on the biggest mob of crooks you ever seen?
Herman, that would make me famous. Are you sure I can do it?
Sam, it's a cinch.
Good.
I got positive information that 1,500 crooks is going to be in a certain building tonight.
Good. What's the name of the building?
San Quentin. So long, copper.
It's times like this that I wish my pal, Lieutenant Abbott of the Homicide Squad, was here. Abbott is a real cop. Even his father was connected with the police department for years. He was connected with the police department the hard way. The hard way. By handcuffs. Lieutenant Abbott is no fool. He knows how to get promoted. Ever since he joined the department 5 years ago, he's been licking the captain's boots. He never got promoted, but now the captain has the cleanest boots and Abbott has the muddiest tongue in town. Abbott is a shrewd cop. He always keeps his eyes peeled. He has to keep his eyes peeled. His head looks like an Idaho potato. Abbott is carefree. He's really carefree. He don't care for nothing unless it's free.
Hello, Sam.
It's my pal, Lieutenant Abbott. And I dare say you look very pleased with yourself, Lieutenant Abbott.
Yep. I just did a good deed. I captured an old crook. He's 97 years old. The judge gave him life. But I felt sorry for him, Sam.
What did you do?
I had his sentence cut to 20 years.
That's my pal, Abbott. Square shooter. His motto was an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. But it don't do him no good. Very few people want to trade eyes and teeth.
Sam, my wife wants you to come to our house for breakfast tomorrow morning.
I'll have to get out of this. Abbott's wife is the worst cook in the world. I had breakfast there yesterday, and it was the first time I ever tasted burnt orange juice.
Sam, why do you always belittle my wife? Why, when I married her, she was considered the catch of the season.
You're right, Lieutenant. And she's still the biggest barracuda on the coast.
Never mind that, Sam. What case are you working on?
I'm after Marlowe, the crook with 1,000 disguises. Every time he pulls a job, he wears a different false nose. Then he pulls it off and throws it away. He's used so many false noses, he forgot what his own nose looks like. Yesterday, a terrible thing happened to him.
What?
He pulled off his own nose and threw it away.
Have you ever seen him?
No, but I got his description. He's 6 feet 11 inches tall, weighs 400 pounds. He's got light blue hair and his nose is missing.
But how will you know if you see him?
He wears loud neckties. And he's a dangerous man, Lieutenant. And before I start after him, I gotta get my gun fixed.
What's the matter with it?
The jelly beans keep falling out of the handle.
Sam, how would you like to go with me to Mexico? Capture Senorita Lolita, the famous jewel thief. Here's her picture.
She's beautiful. She's gorgeous. She's...
Cut it, Sam. She's a thief.
Yeah.
She just stole a $5,000 mink coat.
I'd like to get my hands on that coat.
She's got $50,000 in stolen money in her safe.
I'd like to get my hands on that safe.
She's got $90,000 in jewels hidden in the top of her stocking.
I'd like to get my hands on that safe.
What a wonderful, great parody of all those old detective shows. Bud Abbott, Lou Costello, February 10th, 1949. Thank you for tuning in to Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, the conclusion, and yours truly, Johnny Dollar, when we continue following these important words from your favorite station. Classic Radio Theater family, you know our friend Mike Lindell has a passion to help everyone get the best sleep of your life. He didn't stop by just creating the best pillow. He created the best bed sheets ever. They look and feel great, which means an even better night's sleep for me, because, you know, I'm working like 67 hours a day. Now, Mike's offering the best deal on his Giza Dreams bed sheets ever. You can get a set of Giza sheets for as low as $29.98. You'll never want to sleep on anything else once you slept on a set of Giza Dream sheets. A special offer for you right now. You can get a set of Giza sheets for as low as $29.98. Call 1-800-928-4715. Use the promo code Wyatt. Or go to mypillow.com, use the promo code Wyatt. It's good on anything on the website. That number again, 1-800-928-4715. Use my promo code Wyatt. Now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, the conclusion of Bud Abbott and Lou Costello from February 10th, 1949.
Sam, this trip to Mexico will be dangerous. Have you ever been to Mexico?
I used to fight bulls in Mexico. I was an out-of-door.
You mean a matador?
I took one look at the bull and I was out the door.
Sam, you'll find that Mexico is different from California. There the people drink tequila instead of whiskey.
That's different from California.
They wear serapes instead of coats.
That's different from California.
They take siestas in the afternoon, and you can see people lying all over the streets.
Same as California.
Let's go, Sam. We're off for Mexico to capture Senorita Lolita.
There we were in Mexico. Lieutenant Abbott insisted we stop at the Caliente racetrack. What a gambler. Abbott is a real plunger. He's known as the biggest plunger in the police department. He's never bet any money, but he's great at cleaning out stuffed sinks. We left the racetrack and started tracking down Senorita Lolita. Senorita Lolita. We walked for hours.
Sam, we're lost. Knock on that hacienda door and find out where we are.
Oh, I knocked on the hacienda door. The door opened, and there stood the most beautiful senorita I've ever seen. She spoke.
Ah, saludos, amigas. Hey, little fat one. Would you like a kiss?
Believe me, this girl was beautiful. As I looked at her, eyelids fluttered, and my blood rushed to my head. Senorita, you are so beautiful.
Sam, that's the girl we're after.
Yes.
That's Senorita Lolita.
Yes.
She's dangerous. Be careful.
I will.
Okay.
In spite of the lieutenant's warning, I felt myself slipping. I spoke to the gorgeous senorita. Senorita, you are beautiful. You remind me of a girl that I was in love with, except for the style of your clothes.
You don't say. How did your girl dress?
I don't know. She always pulled her shades down. You are more lovelier than she was. I think you're the most gorgeous creature.
Sam, please. I tell you, this woman is dangerous. The department has already sent 3 detectives down here to arrest her. Not one of them have ever returned. Senorita, where are those 3 detectives? What have you done with them?
I had them locked in my patio.
What have you done to them?
nothing. I feed them good. I kiss them and I hug them. And then I lock them back up in the patio.
Sam, we've got to save those men.
I'll save them, Lieutenant. I'll break down that patio door. Men, I'm Sam Shovel, the detective. I've come to take you out of here, away from Senorita Lolita. You're free, men. You're free. Now, what have you got to say?
Hit the road, Sam.
Go on, get lost, you smo.
Hit the dirt, you squirt.
Get me out of here. Well, Costello, what will be your Sam Shovel detective case be for next Thursday night?
Well, it's a very gruesome case, Abbott. I call it the case of the drowned crook who, when he held up a saloon to get some beer, or the bartender gave him both barrels.
Don't miss it, folks. Our writers are working on it now.
Yes, that they are. And our writing staff is headed by Eddie Foreman, Paul Conlon, Pat Costello, Martin Ragaway, and Leonard Stern.
And our vocalist is Hal Winters, and our show is produced by Charles Vander.
And we'll all be looking for you next Thursday night.
Good night, folks.
Good night, everybody in Patterson. Good night. We love you all. Good night to everybody. Good night, Mother.
Listen each Thursday night at this time for another great Abbott and Costello show, produced and transcribed in Hollywood. Be sure to stay tuned for the outstanding entertainment which follows throughout the evening on this ABC station.
And by the way, yes, that announcer was indeed George Fenneman of Groucho Marx fame. February 10th, 1949, Bud Abbott and Lou Costello on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Now, the wrap-up on Classic Radio Theater, Part 5 of the 5-part Yours Truly Johnny Dollar story, The McLain Matter. This originally broadcast February 10th, 1956.
From Hollywood, it's time now for...
Johnny Dollar.
Johnny, Don Taylor.
Are you here in L.A.?
With Mrs. McLain. Why didn't you meet my plane?
Dr. McLain's been shot.
What?
Teresa Corbett's boyfriend, a guy named Riley, pumped 3 slugs in him this afternoon. He was afraid McLain might get off.
McLain's still alive?
He's hanging on, but they don't give him much of a chance. I'm on my way to the hospital right now, L.A. General.
Meet you there.
Tonight and every weekday night, Bob Bailey in the transcribed adventures of the man with the action-packed expense account, America's fabulous freelance insurance investigator.
Yours truly, Johnny Dollar. Expense account submitted by Special Investigator Johnny Dollar to Tri-State Insurance Underwriters International Building, Hartford, Connecticut. The following is an accounting of expenditures during my investigation of the McLain matter. Expense account item 13, $10, rental, for a tape recording machine which I took with me to the hospital room of Dave McLain. Don Taylor met me in the hall.
Hi.
Hi. Where's Mrs. McLain?
I turned her over to the police.
She know about this?
No. Who's this man, Riley?
Oh, just a lonely guy who lost his girlfriend. Let's go.
Wait a minute. There's something else, isn't there, Johnny?
Oh, I don't know. I think there is, Don. I'm going to try to get it from McLain now. That's why I brought this thing.
What'll happen to Riley?
He's being held for assault with a deadly weapon intent to kill. If McLain dies, it'll be changed to murder.
Mr. Dollar?
Yes?
You can go in now.
This is Mr. Taylor. I'd like him to come in, too.
It's all right. This way, please.
The nurse led us down to the end of the hallway and into McLain's room. Transfusion equipment was rigged up on one side of him, intravenous on the other. He watched us walk in without a word, until he saw me set up the recording equipment.
What do you think that's for?
You, McLain. That statement we were talking about.
What statement?
You know how bad off you are. It doesn't make any difference now.
Who's this man?
My name's Taylor.
Police?
I'm with Tri-State Underwriters.
Oh. You must be a close friend of Doris's.
She came out here with him, McLain.
How is Doris these days?
She's made her statement.
Squeeze play.
How about you?
Nah. I'm not gonna say a thing.
Oh, now, McLain.
Tell you what I'll do. We'll talk about it later.
There may not be a later.
I think there will be. I'm gonna bet on it that way. It's tough, Dollar. You struck out again.
There's always your wife.
She won't tell you anymore. She's got her own troubles.
I think you'd better leave now, Mr. Dollar.
Yeah. McLain's chances for recovery were 1 in 10. That isn't very good odds. But as he said, he was going to bet on himself. And he won. 3 days later, he took a turn for the better. Within a week, he was walking around the hospital. The trial date was set for him to answer charges of defrauding an insurance company. Mrs. McLain was named co-defendant.
All set.
When do you take off, Don?
About 5 minutes.
Good night for flying.
Yeah. Now, what's the matter, Johnny?
Oh, I don't know. This whole case, the people in it, I just don't know.
You ought to be satisfied. You've certainly done your job. McLain's are going to stand trial, and there's no doubt they'll be convicted. You testify in court, and that's about it.
I know. Don.
Yeah?
There's more to it.
Why?
I know there is. There has to be. McLain's slick enough not to open his mouth. He hasn't admitted anything. His wife's done all the talking.
Sure, that's true, but what she said was enough for us.
Was it?
Well, wasn't it?
Not for me, Don.
Johnny, what is it?
Riley, I suppose, and that poor girl, Teresa Corbett. A couple of little people who walked into it. Riley's suffering worse than the McLains, than they'll suffer. He lost somebody he loved.
She died naturally. He would have lost her sooner or later. The McLains had nothing to do with that.
Didn't they?
No.
Well, I've been thinking about it.
Just go in and testify in court and come home and try to forget about it, will you?
Maybe you're right.
Flight 913, Chicago, New York, and Boston, now boarding.
See you in a few days, Johnny.
Okay.
Bye.
One thing, Don.
Yeah?
Gate 8.
Suppose Teresa Corbett had been my girl.
So long, kid.
John Taylor went back to Hartford and left me to wrap up the details and testify in court. The day before the trial, I went over to the county jail to interview Mrs. McLain just once more.
Hello.
Hello.
The uniform isn't too attractive, but they say it's a very healthy life in here. I mean, the regular hours and all. I suppose I should try to get used to it.
Yeah.
How long will I have to go to prison?
Well, that's hard to say exactly, Mrs. McLain.
Well, my lawyer said not over 3 years if they convict us. 3 years isn't too long.
No. Sit down.
Where's my husband? Where's Dave?
He was transferred to the county jail today.
Is he all right?
Seems to be getting along fine.
I haven't seen him, you know.
You'll see him in court.
Oh, I wish it were all over.
So do I. But it isn't, is it?
Practically.
Not at all.
Well, what do you mean?
So far, we have enough evidence to prove conspiracy against you and your husband, and we'll prosecute to the limit on that. There'll be some other charges against him, the business with the body and so on.
Let's not go into that now.
But there's something else here I want to get straightened out. This is your statement.
Yes.
Let me read you this. A girl, whom we later found out to be Teresa Corbett, walked into the office on the night of February 1st, 1954, and complained of feeling ill. She had been drinking. My husband took her into the examining room where she died a few minutes later of a heart condition. Those are your own words on this sworn statement, Mrs. McLain.
Yes.
Let me go on. I had never seen or heard of Teresa Corbett until that night. I was with my husband when he placed a call to her residence in Jersey City. He spoke with a man there who managed an apartment house and so on. Mrs. McLain, that call was never made.
I was in the room when Dave made it.
The phone company has no record of it, no bill for it. I mentioned this to you because we are going to mention it at the trial tomorrow.
You have my statement. Are you trying to make a liar out of me?
The fact remains that call wasn't made. Were you in the examining room when Teresa Corbett died?
No, I was in the front office.
Isn't it a fact that she was a patient of your husband's before that night?
No.
I found out, I'll tell you. Teresa Corbett was one of your husband's patients.
Why,
She came here to live in Los Angeles because of a heart condition she had. He was the doctor she went to see. She just didn't walk in that night and drop dead.
If that's true, I didn't know it.
That night, you said you were acting as a receptionist in your husband's office. When Teresa Corbett walked in, she must have given you her name when she asked to see the doctor.
Well, she didn't. Frankly, I thought she was just a little drunk. She'd been drinking. I could smell it.
And you just took her right on back to your husband without asking a name, where she lived, anything about her?
Yes.
Now, look, Mrs. McLain, a lot of things you've told me and put into this statement are true. They've all been checked and rechecked. That's my job. But some of them just don't make sense.
What are you trying to do? You wouldn't have known anything about it if I hadn't come to the insurance company.
Maybe that's so. Maybe it would have just gotten by. But you did come to us. And whether you knew it or not, we have to know everything now. Everything, Mrs. McLain. Why do you think we've gone to all the trouble and expense of checking all this? I'll tell you. Because your story was too good to be real. It couldn't happen that way, even though the facts seem to say it could.
Why?
A girl alone and friendless in Los Angeles dying of a heart attack in a doctor's office. A doctor who needs money and has a wife who's heavily insured. That's too much for me to take. Teresa Corbett was a patient of your husband. She had been for several months. She came in like anybody else. You or your husband took her personal history. And you noticed that she had only one living relative, a mother in Jersey City.
Will you please tell me what you're talking about?
I'm talking about premeditated, carefully planned murder. That's what I'm talking about. When Teresa Corbett's mother died suddenly, there was nobody left to worry about her. Nobody to ask questions about her anymore, right? That's what you thought, anyhow. But there was a man, George Riley. But he didn't know where to go or who to ask. You didn't know about him. All right. Teresa came in several times, and you and your husband got to know more about her. She was the patsy right from the beginning. Wasn't she? Wasn't she?
Yes.
Do you want to tell me about it?
She had been in to see Dave several times. He knew all about her, where she was from, what family she had. That night, when she came in the office, she wasn't drunk. She hadn't even been drinking. She'd had a telegram. She'd just received word that her mother had died suddenly. She was terribly upset about it. She asked Dave for something to help her sleep.
Go on.
Well, he took her in the examination room, and he came out a few minutes later to get some drugs, and he said something about her case being a terminal.
Terminal? You mean it was hopeless?
Well, that's what he said. He said he didn't give her more than 6 months. It wasn't true, Mr. Dollar. She wasn't that sick.
Then what?
Well, Dave went back to the examination room. I just sat there and waited. I guess I knew what he had in mind.
Had you talked about it?
Well, we talked... Oh, no, not about what happened then. A few minutes later, he buzzed me to come back to the room. I went back there, and Teresa was lying on the table. She was dead. I knew it when I walked in there. Dave looked very strange. He said that she had had a sudden heart attack and died before he could do anything to help her.
You know it wasn't so.
Well, there was a hypodermic on the stand. He'd given her something. Well, I just didn't think he'd go that far.
Are you sure you hadn't discussed this before?
No. I swear he hadn't said a word to me before that night. But he had it all planned. That is, what to do and everything, when I came back to the room. He called Dr. Reed. Dave showed him Teresa and said it was me.
Reed signed the death certificates?
Yes.
When did you leave town?
The same night Dave made me. He said he'd handle everything. I accused him of killing her, and he said that she just died there. Well, I guess I was kind of hysterical, but then he said, all right, I did kill her. She didn't have long anyhow. I killed her, and you helped me kill her. Now get out of here and stay out of here. If you ever open your mouth about it, you'll go to the gas chamber with me.
Do you want a cigarette?
Yes, please.
Here you go.
Thanks. I told you that story. I mean about the phone call and all. To get back at him. I never thought that I'd tell you this part, too. Oh, I'm glad I did. I'm glad it's all over.
Expense account item 14, $85.40, hotel and board while in Los Angeles. Item 15, $205, plane fare back to Hartford. Expense account total, $798.60. Remarks? Murder charges have been filed against the McLains, and they stand trial next month. George Riley received 3 years and a suspended sentence for assault with a deadly weapon. I was wrong about practically everything in this case. All the lies came true, but so did the facts. Yours truly, Johnny Dollar.
Remember, there'll be another intriguing story for you beginning next Monday night.
Next week, cui bono. That's Latin for who benefits. And believe me, it isn't the killer in the case. Join us, won't you? Yours truly, Johnny Dollar.
Yours truly, Johnny Dollar, starring Bob Bailey, is transcribed in Hollywood. Written by John Dawson, it is produced and directed by Jack Johnstone. Heard in this week's cast were Lucille Meredith, Betty Lou Gerson, John Stevenson, Bob Bruce, Victor Perrin, Tony Barrett, and Herb Ellis. Musical supervision by Amerigo Marino. Be sure to join us on Monday night, same time and station, for another exciting story of yours truly, Johnny Dollar. Roy Rowan speaking.
What a truly sad end to the story. From February 10th, 1956, yours truly, Johnny Dollar on Classic Radio Theater. If you like Johnny Dollar, you can get all of his shows by going to Ted at radiomemories.com. Ted has all of the yours truly, Johnny Dollar shows out there, available not only on CD or cassette, but on flash drive for your computer. That way you can export them to your phone or whatever you want to listen to on the go. That's Ted at radiomemories.com. Please take a moment to thank this radio station and support their advertisers. It is their kindness and courtesy that allows us to come to you each and every time we're here on your favorite station. We always appreciate it, and we hope you do as well. Please take a moment to visit my webpage, classicradio.stream. That is classicradio.stream. There you can learn more about building a classic radio collection of your own. You can learn more about listening to our shows on demand. And you can also hear our shows on demand, and you can also contact me there. All of our social media contacts are there as well. classicradio.stream. And we're available on just about any podcast app. Just search for Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Thanks for listening. Tell all your friends the great radio shows are right here at this spot on the dial. Classic Radio Theater on your favorite radio station.